Claressa Shields, thank you for joining us here on talkSPORT today. Actually in London, in the person, we have the GWOAT, nonetheless. Thank you so much for making the trip over. PFL, of course, are going to be fighting, having a card, I should say, in England. You've got some experience in the UK now. You made a pit stop in Wales. What did you make of fighting overseas and in the UK?
Oh, it's cool fighting here. I actually won the Olympics here, so I fought here before. And
Exactly.
the same energy when I fought in Cardiff. They love boxing. The fans love me, and I've been partying with them after. So we had a great time in Cardiff, and I plan to have another good time with them whenever the fights get made with me and Marshall.
Exactly. I mean, again, you've already established such a legacy in boxing. Like, it's unbelievable at this point. We did want to touch on that quickly. What are the plans for that fight? Because we know Savannah tried to put it back, if I'm not mistaken. What's the status there?
She's fake injured with no arm sleeve and no cast. But the fight is pushed back to sometime in September, and they should be making an announcement pretty soon.
But into MMA, of course, it's an amazing pivot anyway for anyone to undertake that challenge. What was the driving hunger to do that? I know you'd already accomplished so much, but what made you say, well, you know what, I'm going to do it? And it's not just like a fleeting effort. You're doing it with the PFL, and it seems like a full-time thing.
I just think that I think that I can be great at whatever I put my mind to. So when it came to MMA, it was so many girls who would say stuff like, oh, she only says she'll get inside the cage, or, boxers always want MMA fighters to come to boxing. And, of course, I want some of the baddest women to come to boxing who are in MMA so I can fight against them.
Yeah.
But then when they were saying stuff like, oh, you wouldn't come in the cage with us, and I was like, psh, bet your last dollar I'll fucking be there. So I just really wanted to, challenge myself and really just become a more dangerous fighter. And that's exactly what I've done. And I've only been doing MMA for a year. I have 2 fights, 1-1, and I'm back in the cage again in November.
And you said 1-on-1, of course, the loss was the first of any professional career that you'd had there. What did they say? You learn more in defeat than victory. So what did you take from that outing?
I learned that I got cheated. I'd rather
That's
lose
fair.
by submission than lose by split.
Yeah, a split is obviously
That
a horrible.
sucks. It was how close was it? But I thought in that fight that I won the first 2 rounds, and she won the last round by getting a takedown and me not being able to get up in the last minute.
Mm-hmm.
But I landed more punches. I landed more kicks, and I was able to get up when I was taken down I think it was the 2nd round. But it's a learning experience for sure. And I did so many things right in that fight, but I feel like the loss makes me feel like I didn't do nothing right, but I did a whole lot of things right. And me and my team are going to build off of that. And I just can't wait to, fly from here, because beginning of June I go see Henry Cejudo, and he's one of the best wrestlers in the world. So he's going to be working with me, and I think that that's really going to up my game, because I'm like a sponge. You start teaching me something, I understand it, I try it, I drill it, then all of a sudden I got it. So I'm just ready to become more dangerous. And then next year when I do the PFL tournament and put boxing to the side for that year, I just really want to have a good showing in the PFL season.
Yeah.
And just compete against the best. And I'll just do my best every fight and go from there.
Henry Cejudo, what was did you previously know each other? Did someone kind of point you in his direction when you wanted to work on the grappling?
Well, when everybody's, we're all Olympic alumni.
Yeah.
So he's been to the Olympics, I've been to the Olympics. And I was in an interview one time and somebody asked me, who would you want to train with? And I was like, man, I really would love to be trained by Henry Cejudo, because he's so great at wrestling, and that's what I lack. I lack the ground stuff. Jiu-jitsu I'm actually pretty decent at, but it's the wrestling that's just recognizing when the takedowns are happening, recognizing when to go for that sprawl. It takes time and experience, and he has the best at that. So once I said that in the interview, he tweeted me and him, we talked on the phone, we exchanged numbers, and then boom, we set it up.
Wow. So, you've done a great job thus far of surrounding yourself with people like that, right? Because I think I read early on that Jon Jones and Holly Holm, and you got involved with them.
Yeah, I'm still going to train with Holly. She is a great training partner to have.
What did you think at the weekend for Holly?
Boy, it was a bullcrap decision. But then again, I'm not a person who can really judge MMA fights because I haven't been doing it for that long. But I do think that Holly won that fight.
Yeah, I think most of us do. I do, anyway. So what's it been like training with her, though? Like, because, of course, she's got that same background of boxing into MMA. Couldn't really get a more perfect kind of synergy, I guess.
Yeah, she's the OG for sure. Like, my first time sparring against her was like, what the heck, you know? And people were around the cage like it was a fight.
Box office.
You know? And I'm like, I was lightweight and intimidated because I'm like, yo, she throw kicks, she do takedowns, she, you know, in the UFC, they elbow. So I had to let her know before then, like, do not fucking elbow me. Seriously. Do not. We don't use the elbow in PFL, so don't try to elbow me. You know, but just getting in there with her and just being able to, like, you learn from experience. You know, she has, when I first started working with her, I could not get off the cage. It wasn't even takedown. She know how to hold me on a cage. And I'm a big, strong girl. Hold me on a cage. And, you know, they say pummel and they say do all this stuff. And Holly's like, you got to do more than that to get up off this cage with me. And, I mean, she just used every part of her body to, I don't know, to just hold you there. And it was different, but it was great because it got to a point to where I wasn't being held there. And I was able to put my head into her chin, you know, stuff like that. But it was like, she's so dangerous. And just to have that experience, and just when I was on my back the first time, like, you forget that you have legs. You just want to punch and make the person get off you. And she was like, girl, use your legs. And I'm like, I don't feel them. You know, so we were able to talk about that. And she's like, you know, just before the fight, just smack your legs. So remember that you got them. It's not only stand up. And she knows what I'm feeling already because she experienced that.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why I love training with her. And, you know, Johnny Bones also he's really a trick of all trades. He really is. And he's more technical than what he gets credit for. Like, people think, oh, he just go out there, he's just athletic. And it's like, no, this dude is smart. He's very smart. And he showed me how to do things, explaining from step 1 to step 10. And I was able to get some of it, but it was great training with both of those guys.
He's been training for heavyweight as well. Like, have you seen him during that process? How's he looking?
Yeah.
He big?
Johnny Bones is big, and he's also still dangerous. You know, it was just like, at first he was big, but then he started adding that stamina to that size, and that's what makes it scary. Like, a big guy who can go.
Yeah, and with all that technique. Wow.
Yeah.
Is there any, like, particular lessons that you took away from him? Like, I don't know, I obviously I'm training with Holly and sparring, I assume, is one thing, but for Jon, was it more, like you said, the technical aspect? Was he giving you some pointers, perhaps?
Yeah, it was a technical aspect, and he just told me to keep that hunger. You know, like, don't go into the fight thinking I have to be defensive or I have to be always looking for the takedown. He was like, do what you're good at. Throw your punches, throw your kicks, recognize what's going on. Like, still be you. And I'm not a person, just in life, I'm not a person who run away from confrontation. So, but when I first started MMA, it felt like I had to kind of move away from the wrestlers, you know, move away from them and, you know, not get taken down. And you're trying to worry about not getting taken down. You don't throw punches. And he was like, don't worry about being taken down. Practice on taking them down. Practice on punching them in the face.
Your thing.
Yeah, and then, you know, Holly, you know, she says purple belt, blue belt. She said the more you hit them, the more belts they go down. So, you know, you got a black belt, brown belt, blue belt, purple belt, white. So she was like, the more you hit them, the more that those belts,
they come right off.
Yeah, you know, so that's something that they both just put in me, like, go out there and go get it and don't be intimidated and just fight, you know. But they've taught me a whole lot of things technically too that I can't disclose here.
Yeah, of course. And I do believe as well that you've trained with Floyd a little bit, Floyd Mayweather, earlier this year, was
Listen, I train with all the greats, man. Everybody love me. Everybody love me.
You're welcome everywhere.
Yeah.
And again, the other thing for you, you know, obviously if the Marshall fight does happen and you win that undisputed, you got a lot of options still. If the fight, not if you win. But you've got a lot of options, and you've just seen, you know, Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano had a great thing at MSG. It is a great landmark moment. What would that look like for you? What would you like to see across from you where you could sell out, and have a momentous occasion like that?
I've always been able to sell out. It's about not being given the opportunities in the U.S. to prove that. And I fought at venues that had 7,000 where I sold out, have 5,000 and I sold out. I haven't been given the opportunity to fight at the MSG or fight at the T-Mobile Arena to show that I have fans around the world and that they'll come out and that they'll support me. Once that happens, then we'll see that. I've always said that women's boxing can sell, so I wasn't surprised that Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor sold out. Those are two great fighters. So when you have two great fighters in you, equal fight time, equal promotion, equal pay, that's what you get. But it's like they promote the women's fights 4 weeks and then they complain about the pay-per-view numbers. And it's like, well, you promoted the guys' fight for 3 months, 12 weeks compared to 4, and you're complaining about the views. Like, it don't even make sense. You got 3 months compared to a month of putting some stuff on social media telling everybody to come by to fight. When it's like, no, you have to put the same amount of time into women's boxing that you put into men, and then we'll start seeing a change. But till then, you're going to have just the few of us who get that big check and get that big TV time.
A little, some sort of quick fire personal questions to finish on here.
Sure.
What was your first job, right, before you were a professional athlete? Did you have any kind of job?
I never had a job before, only boxing.
Well, your skills pay the bills. You haven't got to worry about that. What was your first car?
Pontiac.
Solid start. Is there a time you've been starstruck?
Yeah, plenty.
What one really sticks out? Have you got any?
Angela Bassett, Ice Cube.
Ice Cube, yeah.
Yeah. First time I met Floyd, I was starstruck. I'm starstruck by almost Serena Williams, Andre Ward, like guys who I'm super close with now. I was starstruck by when I first met them because it was like Andre Ward was the last guy to win the Olympic gold medal. Oh my God, So, and who else? Starstruck. Oh, and Kevin Hart. I think that's where
Wow.
I forgot what I even wanted to say. I just didn't say nothing. I just kind of stood there like Kevin Hart. I wish I would have got a picture. I just couldn't talk. I don't know.
Is there someone who's blew you away in the gym? Like you were so impressed by their work ethic, or?
Shakur Stevenson.
Wow, yeah, love Shakur.
Yeah, he's gonna be pound for pound #1 next. Like, he's the next Floyd Mayweather.
He just got in the rankings, didn't he? The pound for pound with his last fight.
He's been in my pound for pound list.
Yeah.
He's been there, but I just know like he got the skills, he got the power, he got the work ethic. He believes in God, and all those things. And he's just a dude who hates to lose. So I'm blown away by him. And another fighter who blew my mind, it hasn't been many because I haven't met a whole lot of fighters. I haven't met too many fighters that work harder than me. And I work hard, so Shakur Stevenson for right now. I'm trying to think if there's any more.
That's right, that's a high bar. That's a very high bar.
And maybe Terrence Crawford, like a fighter who's in the gym year round, always just in the gym like no matter what. And that's Terrence Crawford and Shakur.
Yeah.
Those two guys.
Those are two great shouts. Your favourite cheat meal?
Should I tell you or not?
Well, I don't know. It's up to you.
I love soul food. So when it comes like fried chicken, mac and cheese, yams, greens, cornbread. That's probably why my legs always so big. But
What's finally the worst part of training? Like, is there a particular exercise or like part of training that you don't like?
Stretching.
You don't like stretching?
Yes, it's needed, but I don't like it. Especially when you're cold and you try to stretch and trying to warm up and stuff. It's like the stretching to warm up to me. It's like I would prefer to just be ready to go, but like you have to warm up properly to make the muscles do all this different kind of stuff or whatever. But I don't like stretching because sometimes it hurt because I don't do it often, but and I should. So stretching is just. I have to tell people, like, hey, make sure I stretch today. Make sure you tell me to stretch. Let me know to stretch. I'm going to stretch before and after. Let me know. And, yeah, stretching.